Scientists help us understand our world and the reasons why things exist, how they work and develop. Through inquiry, observation, and dedicated research, they discover new concepts and create technologies which can improve the quality of life. In this segment of Caribbean Icons, we will explore the lives of great Caribbean people who have made pioneering discoveries in science. Their contributions span a variety of disciplines and have been internationally recognized. These are our science icons. Dr. Rudranath Capaldi, mathematician. On Carnival Tuesday, 2nd February 1920 in Trinidad and Tobago, a visionary was born. Rudranath Capaldi grew up in central Trinidad in a house famously known as the Lion House. Young Rudranath attended the prestigious Queen's Royal College, partly due to the determination of his mother, who ensured that all of her children obtained a sound education. In 1937, he won an open national scholarship from the Queen's Royal College, a tradition in the famous Capaldi family unbroken for some 50 years. Capaldi began studying medicine at Oxford University, England. However, after a bout of illness, he switched to mathematics at the University College London. He received a Bachelor's of Science in 1943 and a Master's of Science in Mathematics with distinction in 1945. After a stint teaching mathematics at his alma mater, he returned to the UK, lecturing at the University of London. During this time, he pursued his PhD in mathematical physics. He was committed to understanding the nature of space and time, and this sparked his interest in Albert Einstein's theory of special relativity. His PhD thesis, The Flexure Problem in Elasticity, set out not to contradict Einstein's work, but rather to fortify, complete, and review areas of uncertainty. Dr. Capaldi lectured at Westfield College, London, and the University of Khartoum, Sudan. He joined the Trinidad Polytechnic Institution in 1959 as its first principal. The quest for knowledge in Capaldi was diverse, as he also read for a law degree, and he practiced briefly in Trinidad before returning full-time to the sciences. As a public figure, Dr. Capaldi was the leader of the opposition from 1960 to 1967 with his political group, the Democratic Labour Party. In 1969, he was one of the first recipients of Trinidad and Tobago's highest award, the Trinity Cross. The following year, at the age of 50, Dr. Rudranath Capaldi died in England. Professor George Sammy, food technologist. Professor George Sammy was a pioneer in the field of food production and was well respected in the agricultural sector in Trinidad and Tobago and indeed the Caribbean. His work provided the stimulus needed to promote agricultural-based industries, which were on the decline due to the growth of the energy sector. His dedication led to the establishment of the Caribbean Institute of Food, Science and Technology. Born into a poor family on November 17, 1922 in Duncan Village, South Trinidad, George Sammy did not let his family's standing determine his destiny. As a young boy, he labored at Union Hall, a sugarcane estate, and sold produce on the streets in order to help support his family. He managed to attend the Canaan Canadian Mission School until the age of 14, but was unable to attend a secondary school. He was, however, determined to satisfy his thirst for knowledge. While working full-time as an apprentice tailor, he enrolled in a home study program in French, chemistry, and mathematics. His passion for chemistry was later rekindled while working as a lab assistant at Texaco. In 1954, at the age of 32, he passed the matriculation examination and was accepted by the University of London, Sir John Cass College. 3 years later, he graduated with honors in chemistry and returned home. Soon afterwards, he took up the position of chemist at the Texaco Refinery Laboratory, later being promoted to research chemist. In 1965, he became a lecturer at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine. He earned his PhD in physical organic chemistry in 1967. His interest soon shifted to food chemistry, and he completed a master's in science in food science and technology at the University of Massachusetts, USA. Upon returning to the University of the West Indies, he introduced new courses in this discipline, and he later established the Food Technology Unit. He became the first professor in food technology in 1977 and formed a research school with over 30 postgraduate students. In an effort to stimulate agricultural production and agro-industries, he ran summer courses which trained over 1,000 persons in the handling, storage, marketing, and preservation of local produce. He also educated farmers on canning, bottling, preservation, and processing techniques. He was passionate about the development of technologies that made optimum use of local fruits and vegetables. He created a blend of sweet potato and wheat flour intended to reduce the country's flour import bill. He also developed a sorrel concentrate with a long shelf life and formulated and canned a local fruit cocktail. He made the instant dehydrated yam used in Barbados. For his many contributions, the government of Trinidad and Tobago awarded him the Hummingbird Medal Gold in 1974 and the Zirconium Medal Gold posthumously in 1988. Outside of his academic life, George Sammy was a nature lover. He started the Trinidad and Tobago Tropical Fish Association, and he owned an extensive collection of butterflies. He began a hybridization orchid program, successfully registering 3 new orchid varieties with the International Orchid Society. Professor George Sammy laid the groundwork for our region to achieve greater self-sufficiency in food, but the full potential of his research is yet to be fully realized. Oliver Headley, chemist, solar scientist. The sun will shine when the oil runs out. This was the ultimate warning of Professor Oliver Headley. Professor Headley was a pioneer in the field of solar energy in the early 1960s, and to this day, his photovoltaic cells, solar energy generating cells, and solar designs are being used throughout the Caribbean and Central America. Born on July 5, 1942 in the parish of St. Peter, Barbados, he showed intense curiosity and creativity as a youth and was often seen building and dismantling objects. At Harrison's College, his passion for physics blossomed. In 1961, he completed his Cambridge matriculation examinations and received a Barbadian scholarship. He enrolled for a degree in physics at the University College of the West Indies at Mona, Jamaica, but soon switched to chemistry. Headley graduated with honors in 1964 and was awarded the Commonwealth Scholarship to attend University College, London, where he obtained his doctorate in 1967. In the same year, he took up the position of assistant chemistry lecturer at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, Trinidad, becoming a senior lecturer in the Faculty of Engineering in 1977. In 1992, Headley returned to Barbados, where he was appointed professor of chemistry. He merged the departments of biology and chemistry to form the Center of Resource Management and Environmental Studies, CERMES, which focused on applications of solar energy. Headley worked with boundless enthusiasm and energy as his goal was to design solar devices that would aid national development. For Barbados, he built a system to generate electricity to the science and computer labs at the Combermere School. He used photovoltaic-powered lights to power floodlights at the Montgomery School pasture and the government headquarters. To assist in the power generation, he developed a system for the Barbados Power and Light Company. Further designs include a simple device to dry produce, timber dryers and sugarcane dryers, stills for distilled water production, and solar-powered ice makers for fish storage. During his career, he received many awards, namely the Guinness Award for Scientific Achievement 1982, Commendation from the OAS for work on solar drying 1985, Pioneer Award from the World Renewable Energy Network 1996, Companion of Honor of Barbados 1996, gold medal from the Emir of Bahrain for outstanding achievement in solar thermal energy technology, and the Vice Chancellor's Award for Public Service 1997. Known for his generosity, sincerity, and humility, Dr. Oliver Headley was also a spiritual man. He was a respected elder at the Seventh-day Adventist Church and an associate chaplain. This international visionary and pioneer on the applications of solar energy passed away in 2002. Julian Stanley Kenny, zoologist. Trinidadian zoologist Professor Julian Kenny is considered a world authority on natural history in the Caribbean. He was born in Woodbrook, Trinidad in 1930. He attended Belmont Intermediate School and then St. Mary's College, where he wrote the higher certificate examinations. Kenny did his grade 13 at a Canadian boarding school and then entered the University of Toronto.
I entered the University of Toronto when I was 17, and not really knowing what one was going to do. I was simply pushed into science, as so often happens.
After graduating in 1951, he worked at a fisheries laboratory in the north of Toronto. It was there that his interest in fisheries research developed. Returning to Trinidad, he joined the staff of the forerunner of the Fisheries Division as a scientific officer. While there, he contributed to the introduction of new protocols in fisheries management. In 1963, he gained his doctorate from Birkbeck College of the University of London, and in the same year, he joined the staff of the Department of Biological Sciences at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine.
I became interested in natural history. It's just a natural curiosity. I did my doctorate at the University of London, Birkbeck College, on aspects of the feeding mechanisms of amphibian larvae.
Professor Kenny's work with the neurons was extended to his active research on the distribution of frogs, toads, and other aneuron species in Trinidad and Tobago. He spent 29 years on staff in the Department of Life Sciences at the University of the West Indies, St. Augustine, lecturing in zoology.
You try to fire up students, you try to infect them with enthusiasm for the subject and pursuing a career in science.
He led postgraduates in research on the ecological dynamics of some of the country's natural areas, its caves, wetlands, savannas, coral reefs, and marine systems. His research and advocacy contributed to national advances in the protection of sensitive ecosystems and the development of a national trust. Professor Kenny's reputation as a scientist in environmental matters is evidenced in his service to various national committees. He has functioned as an advisor to the Interministerial Committee on the Law of the Sea Convention, chairman of the board of the Institute of Marine Affairs, and as an independent senator. In his spare time, Professor Kenny is an avid diver and nature photographer. He has written several books which have featured his photographic works. His love for nature and curiosity about science are attributes he encourages in any budding scientist.
Science is one of these things that grabs you. It's something that feeds on your natural curiosity. Feeding that curiosity will develop what is really necessary in the mind of a scientist. If you develop curiosity and tenacity of pursuing, the particular factor that you're looking at, and you retain some skepticism, you're on the way to becoming a good scientist. You don't just simply accept what you're told.
Aldo Khalil Ventura, virologist. Dr. Aldo Khalil Ventura is the chairman of the United Nations Commission on Science and Technology for Development and has functioned as a special advisor to the Prime Minister of Jamaica on science and technology since 1989. Prior to this, he studied some of the viruses which affect man, such as dengue fever. He also conducted studies on bird mites and discovered new species of these pests. Born in Kingston, Jamaica on November 16, 1937, he attended the Wynwood Road Government Primary School and Kingston College. Ventura credits an early inquiring spirit and love for nature for developing his interests in the sciences.
I had the privilege of growing up on one of the most beautiful parts of the Caribbean, the south coast of Jamaica. I was also privileged to have grown up in a family that was very loving, and the house was nestled amongst the trees with all of the nature around it. It was just splendid. My childhood is simply magical.
Although suffering from dyslexia, Ventura secured a Jamaican government exhibition scholarship in 1957. While pursuing his bachelor's in science at the University College of the West Indies, UCWI at Mona, he was motivated by his zoology teacher to continue his studies in science. During his master's in science, he developed an interest in the effect of viruses on the unborn child, birds and insects.
I started out as a basic scientist with all of the, the excitement that brings, and all of the camaraderie and the travel that it brings, and to a point where I would like to use what I've learned and the discipline that I have acquired to make life better for children. I hate poverty with a passion.
His research work gained him exposure to the field of arbovirology, and through a U.S. Public Health Fellowship, he began his doctoral degree at Cornell University. Dr. Ventura worked as a researcher and lecturer of virology at both the University of the West Indies, Jamaica, and the University of Miami.
My work, as it stands, deals with using science and technology and innovation to make life better for people. So it's a challenging job, but at the same time, it's one that's very rewarding.
In 1979, he became the executive chairman of the Scientific Research Council of Jamaica. This new position gave him the opportunity to develop science and technology policies for Jamaica and to direct research and development to aid in the eradication of poverty. For his work, he gained many accolades, including the Centenary Medal 1980 and the Silver Musgrave Medal 2002 of the Institute of Jamaica, and the Order of Distinction Commander for the Development of Science and Technology in Jamaica 2001.
Now, scientists don't normally make a lot of money, but the excitement, the pleasure that you can get from science, you cannot get it in any other way.
Nazir Mohammad, soil scientist. Dr. Nazir Mohammad has conducted soil surveys and systematic mappings in over 85 countries, investigating soil classification, basic soil chemistry, and soil management. He is internationally recognized for his pioneering work on the properties of clay soils and their nutrient-holding properties.
My work has been in almost all in soils, everything to do with soils.
He was born on January 27, 1932, in a farming village on the east coast of Guyana. His boyhood days were spent helping his father, a subsistent farmer, tend animals and feed his family. Despite his heavy load of chores, he was a good student and attended the Morvar Canadian Mission School, where he earned a scholarship to the Berbice High School.
I was in a class with bright students, and that was very good because there was a lot of competition, and I was right up there with the brightest ones, with the best ones.
He wrote the Cambridge School Certificate and was accepted at the Imperial College of Tropical Agriculture, ICTA, in Trinidad. Securing a government scholarship to attend ICTA, he decided to take up the offer and gave up dreams of becoming a doctor. An ICTA grant allowed him to do postgraduate training. After completing, he pursued his master's at the University of British Columbia. He then took up a scholarship and obtained a PhD in soil science with Nottingham University. Ahmed returned to Guyana to work in the Division of Agriculture